So microfinance institutions like offering this type of energy services is also a way to provide support in the income generating activity of their clients.
Play Energy Podcast. Brought to you by Algerian Energy Transition Dialogue.
Hello and welcome to Play Energy Podcast, a place where we talk about energy transition. And co-hosting with me today, Jamal, who is an energy researcher from Loughborough University in the UK. Welcome, Jamal.
Thanks, Mohammed. How are you doing?
Good.
Thanks. So a big welcome again to our listeners. So joining us today is Dr. Natalia Realpe Carrillo, who is the Chief Executive Officer of HEDERA, a company that developed digital solutions for sustainable development. An idea that saw the light thanks to her work done during her PhD degree journey. I must also say that she was in many times a guest lecturer in some places such as Pan-African University and Berlin Technical University. Welcome, Dr. Natalia. How are you doing?
Hello, Jamal. Hello, Mohammed. Thank you very much for this invitation to join your podcast. I'm doing very well and happy here to discuss with you today.
Thank you. So knowing that energy is critical input in modern economic system, and actually the financial part of it plays an important role. And going through your PhD, just in a nutshell, you have defined the microfinance as a vehicle to improve energy supply of what you have called undeserved people. Can you tell us more about your experience when you have carried out your research? It was a case in Colombia where
Yes.
you have studied the feasibility of microfinance. Can you just give our listeners like a general idea about your work that you have done and its relationship with microfinance?
Yeah. First, for the listeners that they don't know yet what microfinance is, or is the first time that listen to this word, when we are talking about microfinance, it is financial services that are given to people that have low income and no access to commercial banking, meaning they don't have collateral for accessing loans or other financial services. And these microfinance institutions or rural banks, cooperatives, NGOs provide these financial services to populations commonly in rural areas or peri-urban areas with special methodologies, whether group loans or individual loans, small amounts, and they visit the clients. So it's the bank who visits the clients on a regular basis and have a very close relationship, the bank and the clients. So I've been working in the field already since 2009, 2010, and it has been always a passion for me to see how these institutions are driving development in the areas, in the outreach that they have, and that not only they are providing financial services but also non-financial services. And my hypothesis or the credo that I have is that microfinance institutions can drive development in the sense that they can provide not only financial services but also access to basic services. That means they can be a vehicle for enabling access to water, to safe sanitation, to waste management, to education, health programs, and especially to clean and affordable energy. So in my when I started working with microfinance institutions, I was assisting microfinance institutions to understand what are the energy needs of their clients. And for my PhD, I conducted a research in how to develop a tool that it will enable these rural banks do this data collection by themselves and have this information reported in the same metrics as the ones that the World Bank has developed, from the Energy Sector Management Assistance Program. The SMAP had launched in 2015. So in 2015 had launched the multi-tier framework, and it was a novel, at that time was a novel methodology which was solving a lot of the questions that we were having in 2010, 11, when we were doing these assessments with 10 pages surveys, going to the field. It was very difficult, very expensive, digitizing all the data, finding out which questions, then analyzing what are these needs and communicating then to the microfinance institution which were the technologies that could be useful for their clients. So with the PhD, I digitized what the World Bank has launched. I put it into an Excel table so that for the microfinance institution was easier to fill out. Then conducted the research in the field with the help of the microfinance institution Contactar in South Colombia, and the idea was to understand what's the level and what's the quality of energy access in regions where it is said that it's 100% electrified. So usually the governments were reporting in terms of national data, whether the people are on grid or off grid. But with this methodology, it was finally possible to see what are those levels of gray of that energy access. Is it this 100% of electrified households? Are they able to turn on all their appliances? Is it affordable for them? Do they have outages? Do they have voltages fluctuations when using the electricity? How is the duration, if it was the whole day or rather some hours per day? And the results of the assessments were surprising for the microfinance institution and also for the program, for the institution itself, and also for the research, to see that actually it was not as excellent as it was in the census data, and that there was possibilities for the institution to provide further services to complement those the effects of the electricity supply that we're having this rural population.
Okay, I think we will go to where we talk about places where there is 100% access to electricity and how we can microfinance this specific areas, because we can see that what is going on in the world right now, a big change in energy and energy transition, and the way we see energy actually. If we can take the example of Europe right now, people with 100% access to energy, they are struggling to get energy right now because it's expensive and many problems are going there. But before, if we can like specify the microfinance only in energy transition, how we can say that these microfinancing systems or frameworks are going to like put energy transition, like push a bit further this transition, if I can say. And I mean, like how because I for me personally, I was thinking that microfinancing is is something that can be a small loan from someone
Mhm.
who has a small projects that is for PV panels or something else, who can take a loan from the bank. But actually,
Mhm.
it's something that is the banks that is doing the research and is doing the assessments, right? So
Yeah.
how the microfinance is really going to push further the energy transition?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of microfinance,
Mm-hmm.
and this versatility that they have. I think by having this social mission of now the like these institutions were born and created in order to improve the life quality of their community, and they are
Mm-hmm.
interested to have more prosperous businesses for their clients, or that the households are better off, and that their clients grow with the institutions, and that they and because there is also lots of competition and different types of banks not moving always close to these clients, they want also to differentiate their services. So
Mm-hmm.
microfinance institutions, not for some of them, like offering this type of energy services is is also a way to provide support in the income generating activity of their clients, also for enabling them to have or to operate their businesses in regions where there are lots of outages, or where the electricity is not enough for what they are doing in their micro and small
Mm-hmm.
medium enterprises. And for other microfinance institutions is an innovation and a way to show a commitment also for environment, or to or also to have a less how do you say, like a um, reduce the adverse environmental impact that they have as institution, and also
Yeah.
for their clients.
Talking about environments, what is the best environment for microfinancing in energy?
What do you mean, best environment?
I mean, like the frameworks, like the banking, the microfinancing
Hmm.
institutions, how they say that this place is good because it's at the back end is it's a bank. It will not
Yeah.
waste money like this. So what makes this place or this environment a good environment for microfinance
For
project?
microfinance project with energy, combining
Hmm.
it with energy, right? So
Yeah.
there is where such tools as the one that that I was developing with the PEPI, and that we are working now with the data, is we are helping microfinance institutions first to understand what are the needs of the clients. Some microfinance institutions, like usually if a bank wants to deliver or wants to offer a dedicated financial product. That means that the now when a client goes to the bank and sees what is the portfolio of different services, usually you see a loan for working capital, or loan for agriculture, or loan for housing, loan for education. And for an institution to have an energy loan, that it has a specific conditions, that it's for a specific technology, is only possible if the institution has already conducted a market research, has ensured that there is a demand, that there is a specific need in the market that they are targeting, and that people are ready to take such a loan for the purchase of a technology. Let's remember that this now when we were talking about this microfinance mechanism is now it starts from the understanding that the people that they are serving are not able to pay by cash and upfront the total amount of a specific technology. So therefore, there is a need of financing service or a financing mechanism that enables this client to access that technology. And there is where the microfinance institution can decide whether develop a specific product, a dedicated product for financing that, or if they finance it and can be just a working capital loan. Either way, the client must, the decision should be done only by analyzing that the costs that I will have and the benefits that I will have from the technology will be covered. Now will cover this investment that I'm doing. So that's how the ideal environment and the ideal situation will be for a microfinance institution in an area where clients are spending a lot of time and a lot of money to pay for the fuel, or that do not have access to electricity, or has outages or short duration, or there is a great need for specific technology, and then therefore it makes sense to offer that energy loan.
Thank you, Natalia. That's brilliant. So, as you said, that's like an ideal environment for a microfinance business to set.
Yeah.
However, as you said, that the microfinance is meant to be for the people who are not able to get access to the normal banking system. So basically, it's like somehow a challenge for them. So from your experience, if you have any experience with the challenges that microfinance institution can face when developing this for a certain area, or maybe the challenges faces customers to get this type of support, and in line with this, what do you think the government role is to play in this kind of business between microfinance and the customer? Is there a support that the government should give to the microfinance or give to the customer so that they can build that strong relationship so that they can carry on? Because at the end of the day, it's a business that will last for some time before the client will pay off all the system. So that's just a question that passed by, and I would like to see your input about it.
Yeah, well, actually, microfinance institutions face several challenges offering this type of loans. So if you happen to know in your life microfinance institutions that are doing this, it's always to admire the work and the decision that they have taken in order to launch this type of products, because it is not easy. I can name you some challenges. For instance, a microfinance institution, if they have a dedicated loan, that means they have, and they are partnering with a supplier for delivering that loan. That means they have, they are trusting fully in the quality of that product, because if the product doesn't work, or if the technology fails, the client will immediately go back to the microfinance institution and complain, and the risk of default then it's higher than with other loans. Yeah, so there is an institutional investment for offering this type of products. Also, now they have to conduct this market research, understand what is the baseline, what are the needs, if people will change from one day to the other, their expenses behavior, or not their fuels, just because there is this new offer. So understand what are the customer needs. Perhaps they just want this diesel genset because they just need to turn on their business this 2 hours per day, and they might think that the solar home system it's way too such a big change for them, then the change will be more difficult. Or just thinking that a household, just because they are using kerosene, that they will take immediately a loan for the solar kit, might not be the case, and they will prefer rather the cheap system that is sold in the market, with no other guarantees or no complex contract. Yeah. But governments could, yeah, just on the governments. So let's imagine, for the governments, let's go step by step. So I am in a rural area in the south, in some country that is far from the capital, and the supplier is in the capital of that country. Yeah, the client sees the advertisement of the microfinance institution. They go to the branch, and this client says, I would like to have this product. And usually microfinance institution to disburse a loan, there are some cases, some institutions take some hours, others say in a day, or maximum in 2 weeks. No, I've seen institutions that even in 2 weeks time, that's the longest period, but usually they are very fast disbursing the loan. But in this case, with the client saying that I want the solar home system, then the microfinance institution, in this example, they have to call the supplier, say, please deliver in this for this client. And once they deliver, then the institution pays to the full amount to the supplier, and then the client has a loan that has to pay by installments to the microfinance institution. So in some countries, the regulation is that there is no grace period for the loans. So the client starts to pay interest rate from day one. And it might be that the system arrives in some days. So why is the client paying? They don't want to pay interest from the day that I order, but from the day that I'm using the system. So then regulation is needed for that. In other cases is the quality. Some governments have mechanisms in order to ensure that the quality of the systems come to a country with certain specifications. But if the country has no regulation for which systems are imported, then perhaps the market is full of low quality products that will be easily thrown or is affected, because then people will not trust anymore on these technologies. Other cases are governments that engage with charity programs or with development cooperation initiatives that from one day to the other, they decide to give systems for free or very high subsidized. And then the market of the microfinance institution is, it is affecting them in their loans, and people will complain and or will not, will refuse to repay if they see that their neighbors are receiving then the systems for free. Or in other cases, the suppliers are in the capital, and they need to send inventory to the microfinance institution branches in order to deliver as fast as possible the systems. However, by regulation, the microfinance institutions in some countries, they cannot have inventories or deal with other businesses besides from what they are doing, the financial services.
Okay, just we are running out of time, so I'm going to ask this briefly. And if you can see I know that you have an experience more than 10 years in the microfinancing, and you have seen how this is affecting the local community. the behavior of the local community. Can you talk briefly about that?
It's just like somehow in line with, do you have just like a success story that you are able to tell us so that we can close today's episode? It would be fine. It would be nice if we can hear just a beautiful story of an experience that you had with a microfinance institution.
I can say that a beautiful story and how it has benefited. I would say, like with the first microfinance institution that I worked, combining energy and microfinance, doing this, bringing this approach. What we have seen, and after a decade, is that the microfinance institution has fully incorporated that product, and it is recognized everywhere in the rural area that they are offering solar water heaters. That's in the south of Peru with Fonte Surco. And after that intervention or that technical assistance, it has come, like many projects have been conducted by the microfinance institution in order to enhance their commitment towards environment protection. And how they selected the technology, like not even thinking about replacing or like decreasing the carbon emissions, but was thinking about how can they improve the prosperity of their clients. And what we have seen in these regions is that there was lots of tourism, that it's area, like regions very high, with high altitude, over the 3,500 meters above sea level. So it's very cold temperature. And in those cases, tourists, if they can stay in a house where they can have hot water for showering, and then they will be willing to pay more for that for that service. And that's how the solar water heater has been integrated into the portfolio of the institution. And the name of the energy product is called Fonte Energía, and that has enabled also the MFI to think about other technologies that have whether more efficient energy usage, such as efficient ovens for cooking or efficient cook stoves, and then also thinking and continuing doing market research whether they can offer other types of technologies. That was the case. For instance, we have helped then afterwards with HEDERA to do a market assessment for very remote branches that they have with even higher altitude, where they know that the clients do not have access to electricity. And after the market research, they saw, well, the activities that they are doing over the day, they don't require electricity. They don't need fridges because it's so cold. And the light that they need is for very few hours, and they are fine with the solutions that they currently have. So the willingness and the readiness to pay for expensive solar home systems wasn't there, and therefore the decision not to include this technology within their portfolio. Still, no, it's are good practices for good purposes.
Good. Thank you so much, Prof, for accepting our invitation first, and for being with us and giving us all this fruitful information. Thank you, Jamal.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Jamal, for co-hosting with me today, and thanks to our listeners for being us. And see you next episode where we talk more about energy transition.